This window is dedicated to Pier Giorgio Frassati, a saint maybe not as well known as some of the others, but very important for John Paul II. He made him the patron of World Youth Day. And in fact, wherever World Youth Day is held, they take the remains of Frassati, which are buried in Torino, and they bring them to the site of the World Youth Day. John Paul chose him because he was, as you can see here, an outdoorsman. He was a hiker. He was a mountain climber. He was someone who loved kind of exuberant, energetic life. So we depict him here as you often see in his photographs. He's up in the mountains near Torino. He has his mountain climber's staff. But we had it flower there, which is a biblical image, the flowering staff. He was known for his exuberant, outdoorsman quality, but also for his intense prayerfulness. Though his parents were not devout Catholics, just the contrary, he himself from a young age had a deep devotion to the Blessed Sacrament. You see him down here praying before the Blessed Sacrament. He'd often spend long nights in vigil and adoration. Along with the exuberant outdoorsmanship and the intense prayer, we have his devotion to the poor, symbolized by his holding that little loaf of bread. Frassati would spend much of his day visiting the poor sections of Torino. They didn't know that he was from a prominent family, which indeed he was. His father was head of La Stampa, to this day one of the most important papers in Italy. His father eventually became ambassador to Germany, and his mother was also a well-known painter. So he was from a well-to-do family, but he spent most of his time in prayer and service of the poor. Some of the symbols here, the dog with the torch in his mouth, that's a Dominican symbol, because when St. Dominic's mother was pregnant with him, she dreamt of a dog with a torch in his mouth running around setting things on fire, and it was taken as a prophecy of this great evangelist who would set the world on fire. Well, Frassati became a third order Dominican, and so we put that symbol in. Above it is the 8-pointed cross, the Maltese cross, a symbol of the Beatitudes, because John Paul II said Frassati is a man of the Beatitudes. The top is a diamond, symbolic of his purity of life. Top left is the Blessed Sacrament, his great devotion to the Eucharist. I love this here. We're quoting our own campus. That's the Mundelein main chapel, which is being envisioned as the temple on top of the mountain, from which water flows for the renewal of the world. So the idea of prayer and coming to the holy temple, unleashing the power of grace. Frassati is a very important saint for this chapel, I think, because he died at the age of 24. He died after contracting a virulent form of polio. He's the same age as most of the people who will be praying in this chapel, I hope, for the next 100 years or so. At his funeral, his family was shocked because they expected upper crust Torino to show up. But in fact, thousands of the poor came to his funeral. And his parents had no idea he had this devotion to the poor. The poor who came were shocked to discover the upper crust people. They had no idea he was an aristocratic figure. I love that image of the two groups coming together in mutual surprise at Frassati's funeral. So he's a great symbol, I think, for our guys praying in this chapel.